welcome back. Today we're talking about the Legend of Celestial Fury Estacion deck. This is a Skyride deck. If you guys aren't familiar with the manga that we recently got in English side, I think it was a couple months ago. It's really good. This deck's really cool from the show. Obviously, it's the partner deck to Virgila, which I don't personally play, but I enjoy this deck a lot. And there's a lot of hype around this deck or these decks specifically because set 12 will be a Skyride booster set, which is going to be pretty fun. So I'm hoping this deck gets more support, but this deck's pretty good for what it is. Um, Big thing to say about this deck is you need a big stack of plant tokens, but we'll get into that right now. So going into the ride line, you have to play the Grade 0 Estacion, the grade 1 Estacion. So he has the ability when the grade 2 is put over him, you Soul Blast out the grade 0 to make the big token, the Blast token. So the Blast token is it's a really good card. It's insanely it can't be removed by pretty much anything except for battle. And it can't be affected by most things. The only things that can get rid of this is that Dark States order for Sacrifice Glass and any attack into it. Those are the only things that can get into it. Both aren't very popular because this will be in your back row center at all times, so you don't have to worry about that. Um, it has the act ability to put up to three rear guards into his gauge to draw one card, which is it's kind of nice. Normally, at least for me, I'm always putting three in because I want to get the stack under him as big as I possibly can. And the last ability is once you hit grade 3, for every 3 that you have, your entire front row gets +5. This is just insanely better Grandfia, and it's not even funny. Like, in terms of the back row token that will eat up other tokens and rear guards, this is just insanely better. And with all the deck thinning and stuff it can do, it puts that deck to shame. The grade 2 is also, or instead of when the grade 3 rides on top of it, the grade 2 Estacion wants to activates when you ride over the grade 1. So turn 2, you'll be blasting one to get out this token, and then you'll be using his effect, which is to search your deck for Vital Blaze, which is the main order card of the deck. Um, it's a really solid ride line overall. And the last card is Estacion. So what he does, he's got a bit of text on him. So you get to counter blast one card if you have the blast token, which you'll always have. The next time you make a plant token, uh, it goes straight into the gauge, and then you'll immediately make a plant token. Look at top three, put one to hand, and then shuffle up. But if you have six or more gauges, you'll be looking at top five instead of top three instead. So with this, as long as you're playing, like as long as you don't brick really hard, like turn three, you'll be slotting in three. You'll be slotting in three rear guards, and you'll be putting the order in, which we'll get to there when we get to there. But on sorry, did I say turn three? Turn two. Turn three, you should have four gauge by then. So you just if you move three guys to the gauge again and draw a card, you'll be at seven. And with the ability, and if you find another order, you'll be at nine. So there's realistically no way you shouldn't be hitting uh, top five at all times when you do his counterblast. But yeah, it's really good. You're doing deck thinning almost comparable to Ava, almost. This is basically Stokia's version of Ava. I think it's a lot more fun at the very least. But when this attacks, you get to drop two gauges to search your deck or drop for a blast dragon and call it to field. So at that point, when you drop the gauges, you're gonna lose a little power from this, which is fine. We'll get into the order at the grade 2 spot, but it's really nice because you can do deck or drop to grab these, and you can grab something that swings with a crit, you can grab something that stuns, you can grab something that makes another plant token. It's an insanely good and quality card. Moving on to this tiny grade 3 lineup. We play 3 Persona rides. 3 Persona rides are pretty good. And 1 copy of Winter. So Winter, when it's placed by a card's ability, very important, doesn't have to be your Vanguard. Uh, he gets the ability that it can't be targeted until the end of your opponent's turn, and he gets a critical, which is just it's awesome. So your opponent can't lock it, your opponent can't retire it. It's just a 20 or technically 13 with a crit swing, but obviously the blast token will have power to this up. Um, the other ability is when you're attacked, you get to retire this and give your attacked unit 10k for that battle. So you're always setting it up for the next turn. So if you want to once again call this out, get the crit. So that'll be perfect for your 4 attack turns. We'll put you guys to the side and talk about the load of grade 2s that we've got. So we got to talk about the Vital Blast order. It's the important card that your deck searches out. You Soul Blast 1 to play it, and then it goes into your plant gauge, so netting you 1 plant gauge, which is really nice. And then you look at top 5, call one that's a grade equal to or below your Vanguard, and then shuffle. If you did not call, you make a plant token instead. I don't feel like I'm normally hitting a plant, like just calling a plant token off of this, but sometimes you will, and it kind of sucks, but it's whatever. The other important part about this is when this is discarded during the turn for your Vanguard's ability from the plant gauge, you get to give a unit +5. So this helps you make up for the fact that you're missing 5k power once you drop 2. But yeah, this card's really good. It is the one of the main important grade 2s. The other one, which we'll talk about, is Daybreak Autumn. So Daybreak Autumn is Combine Rusher, but specifically when you get a gauge to your blast token for the cost of a counterblast 1, which is really nice because in this deck, turn 2, there are 2 different times that you can counterblast 1 and bring this back. When you hit turn 3, there's 3 different times that you can do it. And this is one of the MVPs of the deck. You can never play less than 4 of either of these. And then on to kind of more tech choices. We have, I believe his name is Haksui, but I know everyone calls him Lechuga, so we're calling him Lechuga. If when he's placed from hand, which kind of sucks, because a lot of the cards can just dig it out from the deck, but it's fine. So when he's placed, you make a plant token, and then you get to either counterblast 1 and give your Vanguard +5, but it'll be +10 if you have 4 more units, or the main ability that we use, which is you counterblast 1, and anything that was your Vanguard gets the ability. Anything placed by an ability this turn gets an extra 5. So this this is pretty good for your like going second or going first, like turn 2 rush, or even like on a kill turn if you want to go for the 5 attack combo. Like this is really good. I play 3 copies of Blazing Summer, so realistically between these two, I think you can flip. You can either play 4 of this and 2 of this, or you can keep it at this ratio. The reason I'm playing 3 copies of this is one, he is a 10k shield, and or sorry, he's a 10k shield that has 15k power on both players' turn as long as you have a blast token, which is it's good. But the main thing is when it's placed by a card's ability, you get to pick one of your opponent's rear guards and stun it. It can't stand, it can't intercept. This is really good considering the meta is Virgilla. You force them into you force 15k shield from them because they can't use their intercept anymore, and you also kind of put them in an awkward spot where they have to figure out like they have to call over it, and if they depending on how they committed to their field on turn 2, it could mean retiring more rear guards with their flame cosmore. So that is it's a very nice choice. I'm sure it'll come down to 2 at some point, but I think 3 is the right call for right now. We've got 1 copy of the Ace unit, and then we've got our 1 copy of Twincast. We have an order that we play every turn, so we want to keep we want to keep our orders open for turn. So Twin Cast is the best one. You could also try to fit in the Fire Regalis, but I just don't think it's particularly worth it unless you were committing more to like more copies of this and more copies of the grade 3 that gets a crit. That is it for our grade 2 lineup. It's a little heavy. And we're going to go on to the grade 1s. The 2 stars of the show, 4 copies of Valvina. Uh, if you've heard me talk about this one in Leonorn, but let me tell you about the Burrow Mushroom. So this was a Granvia card originally, but it also has it's also a generic effect. So it's you can put it on rear to soul to make 2 plant tokens. If your Vanguard's Granvia, you give something +5. The +5 doesn't come up because we don't play Granvia. But putting it to soul for 2 plant tokens is really free. It's part of the reason you can kind of get your gauge up super fast, and it builds you soul, so you'll never not have the cost to soul blast one and grab your uh, for your order. And then 2 copies of Harvest Elf. This is a I'm not quite sure how I feel about this just yet. I feel like it's fine so far. Basically, it's got 2 really good uses. The first is when played from hand, you Soul Blast 1, and you make a plant token, which is this deck would like to make as many plant tokens as it can, just so you always have a board. Its other ability, if your opponent's at grade 3, it boosts for 10k, which is really nice. But the last part is at the end of the battle, you can retire the column that she's in, like on your field, to draw a card. So this helps you get around pesky forms of removal, such as lock, such as cards getting bound by Virgilla. This helps you keep important things you want in your graveyard, but also again it lets you get out your lets you soul blast one to make a plant token, which it's just always good for this deck to have extra ways to do it. I was originally playing the fourth dragon for this deck, but the Energy Blast 3 is kind of a conflict. So realistically, the only things you want to use your Energy Blasts on are going to be the Ace Unit and Alvina. Everything else is kind of, if you want to try to fit in like one of the Energy Cyclers, you can, but I just don't think it's very worth it. And lastly, 4 perfect guards. If you uh, want to not play this Sanctitude, you can play a regular 4th perfect guard, but I personally like I try to give the decks I care the most about the copy of Sanctitude. So that will be it for that. And lastly, we talk about the all-important triggers. The best over trigger in Stokia, the 4 effect crits, the 4 burrow mushrooms, not burrow mushrooms, the peppery pepper, goodness. The 3 copies of the effect fronts. You don't really care about the soul fronts because you play burrow mushroom, but the you also don't build up a huge hand with this deck, so it's really important to have the extra 5k shield where you can get it, and 4 heals. If you want to play the effect heals, you're more than welcome to. I just don't personally do. And when you are playing this deck, there is one thing you need to know besides having a huge stack of plant tokens. The most important thing is how you specifically mulligan, because there are certain cards that you are very desperate for, which will be these 3 right here. You would like to open these up. If you open these 3 cards every game, you're living life, right? So because you always have access to a counterblast 1 to make 2 bodies, which is really nice. You always have the soul to put this in and make 2 plant tokens. And then this will get you back your grade 1s, which will normally be him, or it'll get you back your order. So because of Alvina, realistically, if you can find, mind you, this doesn't have to be in your opening hand, but if you can find, like you open this, realistically, you don't have to find an order for the rest of the game as long as you find Alvina's, because she'll just Energy Blast 3 after you've used both of them to get it back to your hand. Um, but these are definitely like what you are mulliganing for, and if you hit one of these, it's like it's cool, but this is the kind of the crutch point of the deck. I'd want to say it feels like most of the games where you don't hit these, it feels like an uphill battle. But this is definitely the bread and butter 3 card combo that you want to open up every game. And that is it for this deck profile. Nothing super crazy. I feel like it's a very standard list. Maybe it's not a standard list. I'm not quite sure, but it's standard for me. It works really well. Just know you're going to do a lot of filtering. You can do a lot of aggression, but most importantly, never expect your hand size to be as big as like 10 or 20 cards unless you're like your opponent's just not attacking you, because this hand keeps a quality hand but not a big hand. And that's going to do it for this profile. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Still waiting on. We're going to be waiting probably a week. Maybe next Wednesday I'll have a lot of stuff in from set 10. But if we don't, we'll have to improvise and talk about other decks. Peace, guys.